Morning, Steve here in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, prices for the grains are higher overnight. Beans up 7, wheat's up 2, and corn's up 4. I think a little bit has to do with the fact that the USDA dropped corn and soybean crop ratings about 1% across the board. And when you look at the states, I think for corn, Illinois was down, Minnesota was down a little bit, Missouri was down, and Ohio still is the lowest rating of the crops. We also saw from the Pro Farmer Tour a little bit of yield data. For Ohio, it's 154. That's down from last year's average they had at 180. And for South Dakota, the yield was also 154, and last year they had a state yield on the tour of 178. Pod counts in both states are well below what they were last year, and so the USDA had said that Ohio corn yield in August was going to be 160, and that South Dakota was 157. I think the tour now is going to be looking at some of the better crops in Nebraska and Iowa, and then they'll also have to try to define what's going on in Illinois and Indiana. That could be the tipping point in whether or not they actually agree with the USDA's August corn numbers, or actually if they come in like Ohio and South Dakota below. That might give us a little bit momentum on the upside. Overnight, we're trying to hold values near recent lows for the week. Wheat's down 4 cents, corn is down 4, and wheat and soybeans are down 5. But so far for the month of August, wheat's down 20, corn's down 32, and beans are down about 8 cents. As far as the crop conditions, right now the crop that's in the dented stage is about 15% for the corn. Average is 30%. For soybeans that are setting pods, it's about 68%. Normally it's 85%. And the spring wheat harvest is 16% done. Normally it's 49%. So farmers up in the northern plains are kind of taking their time and getting that spring wheat crop harvested. And there's a few pockets which the yields are not quite as good as what maybe the USDA might have said. The ratings, though, remain 70% good to excellent versus 74 a year ago. As far as the funds are concerned, they continue. They were sellers yesterday in the marketplace, and right now we've got them long, about even in the wheat, long about 26 corn and short about 80 beans. As far as crop numbers are concerned, the low ball in beans for this year's U.S. crop is 33.90. High is probably the USDA's numbers, 36.80. And in corn, the same group's got a crop of 12.9 billion bushels, and the USDA is at 13.9 billion bushels. And I think we also have had some numbers kind of popping out from South America that for 2020, both their Argentina and Brazil corn and soybean crops are going to be bigger than this year as far as the first estimates are concerned. There was a meeting in one of the Chinese provinces yesterday about the soybean conditions. The general consensus by the Chinese at the meeting was that this war between U.S. and China trade was going to go for a long time. They invited a Russian minister there to see if they could get beans from Russia. He said that their supplies would be limited. And so now the Chinese are continuing to look for nutrition and protein values for their people versus the hog numbers that are down and the fact they can't buy U.S. soybeans. I think Brazil can satisfy them with their beans, but there might be a couple of situations in which Brazil might run low at the end of their crop year before their next harvest. So still don't have a trade deal, even though yesterday there was a lot of positive promises that came out that helped the U.S. Stock market, and then but not really the grains. And then we have to kind of follow the pro-farmer thing. Weather-wise, a big glob of rain in Iowa today, moving into Illinois. The 7-day outlook calls for rains mostly in eastern Nebraska, southern Iowa, Missouri, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana. So not really helping quite the center of Illinois, Indiana as much as probably the crops need. So we'll see overall if we're going to be staying in this trading range. In the November beans between let's say $8.50, maybe $8.40 and $9. Corn $3.60, $3.70 to $3.90, and wheat is probably $1 above that, either $5.60, $5.70 to $5.90. So anyway, consolidated trade after Monday's sell-off, lower crop ratings. Pro Farmer came out with some lower yields, and as far as weather is concerned, looks okay for now. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM or ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day.